It's been around 48 hours since the India-Pakistan ceasefire. The question on Saturday was how long would the ceasefire last? We got the answer when Pakistan violated it within hours of the announcement. On Saturday night, Pakistani drones were spotted in parts of North and West India. But things have largely been calm since then. 32 Indian airports shut due to this conflict are being opened up as we speak. And so are markets and establishments in border areas. This afternoon, the Indian Armed Forces addressed a press conference on details of Operation Sindoor. Top officials from the Army, Air Force and Navy addressed the press for the second time in 2 days. Like yesterday, India put forth enough and more evidence of its powerful air defense systems at work, bringing down Pakistani drones. A video put out by the Indian Army showed a Pakistani Mirage fighter jet that was brought down during Operation Sindoor. This briefing also included before and after satellite images and videos of the damage that India's precision strike did to key Pakistan military bases. Director General of Air Operations, Air Marshal A.K. Bharti, also confirmed that Pakistan's nuclear facility at Kirana Hills was not targeted as some reports claimed. But today let's focus on the ceasefire itself, because that is what is getting a lot of attention currently, especially the way it was done. The role of US President Donald Trump and Washington trying to project itself as a so-called mediator once again. If you would remember, Trump was the first to tweet about a ceasefire between the two sides on Saturday at around 5:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. This was followed by Pakistan, who thanked Trump for his mediations, and then India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri confirmed that there was a ceasefire. Notably, till now, India didn't and hasn't officially spoken a word on US's mediation. New Delhi maintains officially that this was done only at a military level after Pakistan's Director General of Military Operations contacted his counterpart in India. The opposition in India has already begun targeting the Modi government over US's entry into this, questioning how a third country was allowed to broker a ceasefire between a conflict between India and Pakistan. The Congress is also drawing comparisons with Indira Gandhi and the 1971 war and the US pressure at the time vis-a-vis what we saw with the Modi government. So what exactly happened? What role did the United States of America play? Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. Now before we go ahead, it's important to note one thing. Both Western and Indian media outlets have reported their version of what happened, citing multiple government sources. In this video, we will be piecing it together one by one with attribution to help you get a sense of what exactly happened behind the scenes. So, the story begins on the 9th of May, around 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time and around noon in Washington, D.C. US President J.D. Vance dialed Prime Minister Modi. As per CNN, Vance told PM Modi that there was a high possibility of dramatic escalation in the India-Pakistan conflict in the days to follow. Vance encouraged PM Modi, that is the word that CNN uses, encouraged, to establish contact with Pakistan and consider de-escalation. The American Vice President reportedly also described to Prime Minister Modi a potential off-ramp that the US thought the Pakistanis would agree to. Of course, the details of this aren't available, but Prime Minister Modi is believed to have heard J.D. Vance out. The Indian Express reported this morning that PM Modi told Vance that India's response would be harder, deeper and bigger to any sort of misadventure by the Pakistanis. And within hours of this phone call, tensions escalated at the border. Pakistani drones and missiles targeted 26 locations in India along the northern and western frontier. This included an airbase in Adampur and an Indian army base in Nagrota. India retaliated strongly and almost immediately. Within hours, it hit 8 military sites in Pakistan with air-launched precision weapons. These were in Rafiq, Murid, Chaklala, Rahim Yar Khan, Sukkur, Chunian, Pasroor and Sialkot areas of Pakistan. On Saturday morning, US Secretary of State and also the National Security Advisor Marco Rubio spoke with Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir. Islamabad is believed to have told Rubio that Pakistan was okay to the idea of both India and Pakistan stopping fire. This Rubio then reportedly conveyed to India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. In fact, some reports suggest that during an earlier phone call between Jaishankar and Rubio, the former, that is Jaishankar, had conveyed two things. First, that India was willing to talk, and second, if the Pakistanis agreed to talk, their DGMO had to approach India's DGMO, which was the only available communication channel. Later on Saturday evening, India's DGMO, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, said that his Pakistani counterpart established contact with the help of the military hotline. Since Lieutenant General Ghai was preoccupied at the time, the two were only able to connect at around 3:35 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Therein, it was decided that a ceasefire between the two countries will be in effect. And by 5:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, Donald Trump announced a ceasefire. Now, this entire sequence raises two questions. First, why JD Vance? And second, what prompted Washington DC to go in an overdrive mode and get a ceasefire done as early as possible, or try to get one as early as possible? On the first question, multiple reports say that the White House and Pentagon were closely following the developments with regards to India and Pakistan. By Friday, as tensions escalated, the White House realized that a few calls in New Delhi and Islamabad won't help de-escalate matters. And also the fact that messages on de-escalation weren't reaching where they should, that is the top officials on both sides. This is what the New York Times reported. Around that time, Vice President Vance gave an interview to Fox News. He had said at the time that US had no business in interfering in the India-Pakistan conflict. Following this interview, things on ground were only getting worse by the minute. Then, New York Times reports that US officials decided that Vance would be the one who will pick up the phone and set the ball rolling in trying to get a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Remember, JD Vance was in India when the Pahalgam attack happened in Jammu and Kashmir, killing 26 innocent tourists. Vance had even met Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi a day before the attack. So American officials thought that Vance's rapport with the Indian Prime Minister, would help in such a time of crisis. But what was exactly making America anxious? The fear of a nuclear war. The New York Times reported that Washington feared that this conflict between India and Pakistan could snowball into a nuclear war. The same fear that then US President Bill Clinton had during the Kargil War. NYT says the biggest concern was that India destroyed the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Now, this installation, Noor Khan Air Base, isn't too far away from the Pakistan Army headquarters. It's also one of the key hubs to the air refueling capability for Pakistani fighters. Now, the Noor Khan Air Base is also not too far away from the headquarters of Pakistan's Strategic Plans Division. And this division oversees and protects the country's nuclear arsenal. And so, like 1999, Washington DC decided to step in an India-Pakistan conflict once again. Following the Prime Minister Modi-Vance call on 9th May, CNN reported that both Vance and Rubio were working round the clock, connecting with as many officials on both sides as possible. As for India, government sources have repeatedly emphasized that this ceasefire was only done between the military of the two sides, and there was no third party involved. After all, India's conventional stance has been this, that whatever conflict or problem is there with Pakistan, it is a bilateral issue. No mediators, including the United States, are welcome. This time it seems clear that there is some sort of a US mediation at play behind the scenes, or that is what the reports are suggesting. India's foreign ministry so far has remained tight-lipped about the involvement of America officially. However, experts say MEA reiterating the old, well-established stance in this case and just coming clear on the role that US played will really help go a long way. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.